talking about spirituality, some questions that a lot of people have regarding, some of the fanatical beliefs that some people have. And you tend to notice across Buddhism, there are some people who believe very different things about the same subject. So is there a reconciliation for that, or is that through just mutual understanding, or is it just some people's misconceptions? Is there a right and wrong when it comes to those things?
The spirituality, if you look at the world today, there is a drastic change in the perceptions of people. If you go to the Google and type spirituality, there are the first 10 the spiritual leaders. You find different names. It's not the same names that we used to see before. People like Eckhart Tolle, Rupert Spira, Mooji, these, and look at some of those videos, millions of hits, and amazingly they communicate something, and they give full credit to Lord Buddha, Jesus Christ, and they say they are the ones who have discovered this. And it's just that the usual human language is not adequate to express, what is enlightenment, what is freedom. So this whole thing is changing. Anything else is like, if I say, most of these people are saying, whatever you are experiencing is an illusion. So how can that be? Is this an illusion? You are sitting here, I'm talking to you. But there is something, it's worthwhile looking into what they are saying, from a different point of view. And that's where I said, you remember I said at the beginning, there are certain circumstances, vicissitudes that you have to go through, and why is it happening? So explanation of life and existence is what is essentially taught as a core message in, more like Jesus Christ said, lose yourself to find yourself. What does it mean? And Lord Buddha said, look at your feelings, can you find there? Look at your thoughts, can you find yourself there? Look at your emotions, can you find yourself there? This yourself whom you're... And that sort of messages. And that's where the spirituality is lying. Anything else, how do I become a wealthy person? It doesn't belong to spirituality.
In talking about spirituality, there's, whenever we hear about, in contemporary culture, when we hear about exaggerated abilities that people have, we tend to, give them the side eye. We tend to analyze that situation very logistically and very logically. But when you talk about a lot of, old stories, when you hear about like exaggerated abilities or supernatural abilities, we tend to just take it on the go. So what are your feelings about that? That is something that a lot of, agnostics and atheists have an issue with sometimes.
Each one's opinion on this is different, but if you ask me, my personal opinion, like for instance, all these, the supernatural powers, and, I would probably say anyone who is performing some kind of, walking on the water or something, I would probably ask him, could you please go to a hospital in Sri Lanka and do your, whatever the things you can do and cure the patients over there, that kind of a practice. I mean, that's the way I look at it. And all these, and then healing kind of, there are so many things that are happening. And then the people who predict things, well, I mean, anyone who wants to believe all that's fine, but that is not what the real, I mean, at the end, we all have inevitable happenings in our life, right? Because, I mean, it's not the same person who walked in just half an hour ago, sitting here now. And that reality, you can't change that. It's not a miracle. It's a, seeing the true nature of life. And if you live with that understanding, all what you say becomes somewhat immaterial.
Life will be easier as well.
Easier, and it's very light then, you take things as it is. And your life will continue. If you want to make money, you can still make money. If you want to do a good business and compete with the rest, you can do all that. But there is nothing inside that is troubling you anymore.
Thank you, Mr. Vipula. That was very informative. Thank you for being here. And with that, we are winding up today's program. It was a very informative and a very entertaining program, I hope.
Yeah.
And have a great Saturday. Have a great weekend. We and Sharon are going to say goodbye.
Yes, and we to the folks in Kandy, we hope you enjoy the Asala Perahara because it's the last day. and let the celebrations of that while tune in and be with us for the rest of the programs. Until then, take care.